Hi, it's Martin and welcome to another video on my Knit365 YouTube channel. Today's video is a project vlog and it is my Imaginarium video where I'm going to be sharing my progress and finished object to enter into the Toft quarterly Imaginists competition. So if you are new here and you haven't seen this video before, there was another one that I did, my first one actually, in March, which was the Q1 entry, and I did Snee, this Snow King. This quarter's entry is going to be, I'm not sure yet, it's a work in progress in my head, but the colour scheme is 3 balls of Toft Violet. So you have 3 of these, a ball of cream and a ball of black. So I need to use these 5 colours to create something from the Imaginarium book. And each quarter, Kerry Lord from Toft releases the colour palette, and you have 3 months basically to design your monster and get it loaded up to Instagram and see if you're in with a chance of winning. And the winning entry gets a gold patch from Toft, but also their kit makes it into the official Toft Monsters Imaginarium lineup. Basically, your winning design gets turned into a kit and Toft sell it, which is just amazing. And I did the March kit. The March entry was my very first one. I think the competition's been running for a couple of years now, but I wanted to do something at the beginning of the year to try to be a little bit more creative. I think I'm very good at following patterns and following instructions. I don't think I'm very good at taking a concept and developing it into something. So this is a really good adventure, if you like, for me, because I follow the standard form in the book to make the standard monster shape, if you like, but then it's completely up to you how you customize it. And you've got all of these flip pages with all different heads and sort of hair, headdresses, arms and legs. I've been mulling an idea over, and I will share with you in a clip that will come up in a minute as I put pen to paper and start to draw what my entry's going to be. My entry wasn't inspired by the wool. My entry was inspired by something that I was crocheting at the time that the colours came out. And I thought, oh, I really like that technique I've just done. Maybe I could incorporate that technique into my monster. And then it's kind of developed from there, but it's still a little bit of a work in progress. However, I'm quickly running out of time because I've only got until the 30th of June to enter for this quarter and get my finished monster loaded online. It is currently the 13th of June, so I've got just over 2 weeks to finish my entry and get her ready. So I'm just sitting down to record this introduction, and then I'm going to go and make the standard form. So I'm going to make the head and the body of my monster, from which I will then do all of my customizations. Given my wool quantities, that I have 3 of the violet and only 1 black and 1 cream, my head and body are going to be in the violet color. So I don't need to worry too much about my finished design just yet, because I can get going and I can then work out how I'm going to customize the arms, the legs, and the hair. I know what the hair is going to be like. We're going to have an updo with a bow, I think. But more on that in a bit. But as I said, I just wanted to record this introduction so that I could get going at least, get my monster on my hook. I might finish it tonight, the body. It didn't take me that long last time. Maybe if I don't finish it tonight, I'll finish it tomorrow. And then this video will be updated as I go throughout the rest of June, and you'll see me make progress on my design. She's yet to have a name. It will be a lady monster. She's yet to have a name. I've got a couple that I'm ruminating on. So I'm going to get cracking, and I'll be back when I finish the head and the body, and I'll share a little bit more about my concept, and hopefully I'll have drawn a couple of pictures that I can share with you so that you can see how she comes to life. So you've just seen me drawing my plan. A couple of days have passed. If I'm honest, more than a week has passed. It is now the 20th. Oh, it's nearly a week has passed. It's now the 20th of June. So I'm running out of time, but I have just finished the head and body. I said I would probably do it that evening. I didn't. Other things happened. I don't know what I worked on. But anyway, by the by, I finished the body. You can see that sort of classic pear shape from a Toft body. So I finished her body and her head, and that's it. So I've now got 8 days, 9 days, because I don't want to leave it to the very last day. So I'll basically give myself a week to now finish the rest of my creation. But let me introduce you to my entry for this quarter. This is Cynthia, and as I've written on the bottom, Cynthia works the city by day and the dance studios by night. So there she is, my Cynthia monster. And as I said in the beginning, this kind of developed not from the colour, whereas when I did Snee, I looked at the colours and instinctively wanted to do something ice monster related. I didn't really know how to work these colours in, but when the colours came out, I was actually crocheting Emmeline, and I was doing the dress, and I really enjoyed doing this technique because it was a new to me technique where you are actually crocheting each frill twice, because you crochet in into the back loop and then you crochet to do the frill. And I really enjoyed that technique, and I liked doing it and learning it as I was going. And it then made me think, oh, I wondered if I could incorporate that into my monster design, and I wondered if I can give her a little skirt. I don't have enough wool to do a full dress like I have from a Dolls Club perspective for Emmeline. So my plan is to take the standard form, and I'm going to crochet a round of slip stitches around the monster, and then into that round of slip stitches try to do the frill. And what I'm hoping to do in my head, I'm going to do 5 frills. So we'll have black, cream, black. But on my design, I've only drawn it 3 times. I'm not sure how that's going to work, whether it will be 3 or 5. But that's the plan, is that we're going to kind of have this frilly dress that or frilly skirt that she's going to be wearing. She's just finished work. She's pulled her hair back into a high ponytail, and she's got some sweatbands on her arms. She's got some leg warmers, and we're in 1980s New York, and she's had a really busy day at work and is now off to meet her gal pals, do a dance class, and then head out into the city for, I assume, a monster cocktail of some kind. a gin and tonic, a white wine spritzer. I'm not really sure where I'm going with this after this, but that's kind of my idea. 1980s New York, high ponytail, little mini skirt, leg warmers. You get the idea. And you can see I've written on here, I've kind of styled the hair. I'm going to do the hair, I think, in all cream with just a little flash of the violet and the black. And I've written bow, question mark. I would quite like to do a bow that goes, I think it's going to depend on how high the hair goes. But again, I've taken inspiration in terms of the hair from when I did Emmeline, because Emmeline's hair actually just goes along. You kind of create this hairline. And then with the long lengths, you pull them up and tie them in almost in a knot, and then you take another lump of the wool to create the bun that sits on top. But you can't really see that because it sits underneath the hat, and I've sewn the hat on, so I can't show you the bun. But again, that type of technique, I'm going to hopefully try to put a hairline on her, and then gather all of the ends together and then tie it in a knot with a piece of yarn and then put a bow on top. So we've got this really sort of high ponytail that sticks up. So that's where I've got to. One other small feature, I'm going to plan and try and do a stripe. She's going to be all violet, and her body and head are all violet. But what I'm going to try and do on the limbs is to create, just by bringing in a second colour, just a couple of rows, almost like a little stripe that sits on her arm, and the same on her leg. So I've kind of drawn that out clumsily. I'm not an artist, to kind of show how I want that to look. And then I've flicked through the book and I've chosen my most of my design. So we've gone for A22 and F22. So arms will look like this. 3 fingers and a thumb, because she needs her fingers to type on her keyboard in the city. And then she's got pointy feet because she's going to need those feet in the dance studio for when she's doing her spins. I've chosen this head just to kind of give me a bit of an idea for what it will look like. But this, I won't use a specific head because I'm not going to have hair like this. As I said, her hair is going to be kind of pulled up in a ponytail, but very similar to that will be how it will look before I pull it up. So that's kind of what I'm hoping she's going to look like. So I'm going to hopefully now this evening get some crochet done and try and get the limbs done this week. The rest of it shouldn't be that much in terms of time commitment, because I'm going to have a play. I have no idea how I'm going to do the wristbands or the leg warmers. I'm kind of just thinking I'm going to do a chain and then maybe some trebles or some half trebles just to give me a bit of height. And then I'll need to pull those down the leg before I sew it on, because I won't be able to get it up over the feet, I don't think. But I need to have a little play with that, so I'll be back in a bit. So another slightly longer segment, but hopefully relatively interesting in terms of my thought process and how Cynthia has come to life. So we now need to do some crochet and we need to crack on. 1 week to go. Me again. Right, I've decided I'm sticking ahead with my plan, but I want to have a little practice. So everyone meet Eldon, I think. Eldon or Elven? I think it's Eldon. Eldon is a Yule goat. He's got a little bell around his neck. And was an advent from a few years ago. You can see this sparkly yellowy gold. Eldon now has an orange belt. I decided, because I want to do this technique that I just said about on the dress, but I don't know how it's going to work. And if I need to try it, rip it back, pull it back, and etc., I thought I'd better have a dummy. So I had a quick look over on the shelf where my menagerie sits, and Eldon is the willing volunteer. So I've just grabbed some standard orange from my Toft stash. There's a lot of T's in there. And I've just slip stitched a row of orange around. Interestingly, you can see I've brought the stitch back up because of course we crochet in a spiral when we do this style of crochet. And if I'd carried on, I would have gone into the next row down. So I've just brought it up slightly. You won't see it. It's on the back. I've started on the back anyway. So I'm going to try and follow a bit of the Emmeline pattern for the dress, which now I've done my slip stitch, I'm just going to do a row of double crochet to start with, and then I'm going to have a go at the front or back loop, whichever the pattern is, and see how that works. And I know this is the kind of behind the scenes stuff you're here for. How do we make the dress work? So in a while, you might see me looking despondent. You might see Eldon with a little skirt. I don't know. This might work. So Eldon now has, I was going to put this in my mouth and I can't speak to you then, can I? Eldon now has the first ruffle. So I'm going to need to do a few more ruffles to be able to see what this looks like. So the next ruffle will go there. So it's not going to come down like a traditional dress. It's going to be roughly, which I think is kind of the look that I'm going for. And if I imagine 1 ruffle, 2 ruffle, 3 ruffle, maybe 4 ruffle, I'm not sure I'm going to get 5 on. I'll have to have a look. But I don't know if I said in the last bit, the reason I've done it on this is if it didn't work and I had to rip it out, it might pull the fabric slightly. And I don't really mind if Eldon looks a bit worn around the tummy. But because this is like an entry for the competition, I want Cynthia to look fancy. So I thought I'd have a little practice. The other thing this is going to be good for is, because these are treble stitches, US double, UK treble, US double, they are quite yarn hungry. So already, because I just had that little bump of yarn, already I need to join in another bump of yarn. So actually doing this is going to be quite good, because if I can, like, I've got enough stash. That's just my bag of colours. So from Toft, I've got a whole crate of Toft yarn. So if I can do this to the point that I like it, I can then undo it and I can weigh the yarn, because I'm going to need most of the 25 grams to do of the cream to do her hair. So if I need most of the 25 grams to do the dress, I'm not going to have, I won't have hardly any yarn left at all, which is okay. But obviously what I don't want is that the dress is going to take, say, 30 grams of yarn, because I'm going to have to rethink my plan, because I've only got 25 of black and 25 of cream. Because I've kind of used, I'm guessing I'll use most of the violet on limbs. So I'm gonna have a little play. I'll continue doing this using some of my stash, and then see how many rounds and ruffles I can get. Eldon's a bit bigger than my monster as well, so I think it will take slightly less yarn. But if I can work out a ruffle that I'm happy with, then yeah, I think this could work. Oh, this is exciting. It worked. So, yeah, I've done 3 rounds of the ruffle. Eldon is, I've just realised, slightly bigger of body than the monster. So that's fine, because I'm going to use slightly less yarn, I think, when I do the monster. And also, putting it on Eldon now, I can see that I would start it slightly lower down. So I'm probably I'll map it out on Cynthia, but I'll probably start it here at the middle one, just so that it comes down 1 more row. I'm not going to have enough wool, I don't think, to do 5 rounds. And I also think 5 rounds might be a little bit busy. You know, she's just got a little rough skirt on, and then she's off to a dance class. So I'm going to leave it as it is, I think. But I'm really pleased, and I started here at the back, so you can see again where it spirals. Really, I've tried to slip stitch them neatly into position, and that will work fine. But you can you can see the outline where I've done that slip stitch traverse, and then I've double crocheted into there. And then all I've done just to hold this bottom layer down, I've done a line of slip stitching just underneath the skirt. And I've done all of that in the model colours with this extra slip stitch, because of course that will take extra yarn as well. But I'm really pleased. So I'm now going to undo all of this so that I can then weigh the yarn and work out how much that took. And then I think I'm going to do a black, white, black as the 3, or a white, black, black. I think probably black, white, black is probably my preference, but I think we'll just have a quick, we'll weigh the yarn just to double check. I said I think I'm going to need quite a lot for the hair, so I don't want to use all the yarn. It takes quite a lot because they're all trebles. So I've basically done 2 treble stitches in each double crochet. So yeah, but that is a good section. So I'm not sure how much progress I'll make now. I'm going to do the limbs. You don't need to see me doing the limbs. So the next couple of days I will do some arms and legs, and then I'll come back with an update towards the end of the week. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're going to see next. You'll soon find out. Quick check-in video then with the latest update. It is Saturday the 25th, 24th, 26th. It's that type of the month anyway. And she's had a bit of a change. So I've done the limbs. So she has 4 toes on her feet. Good for dancing. She's got 3 fingers and a thumb. Ignore the hair, I'm experimenting. So you saw the dress on Eldon. I took the dress off, I weighed it. If you're interested, I used 8 grams of orange and 6 grams of the yellow, I think. So I knew that I had enough black to definitely do it. I'm really rubbish at judging yarn. Yeah, but it was fine. So she's worked out really well. So I love the dress. So that's just the slip stitches. And then I slip stitched in just to hold it down a little bit. So dress is on. I've done her limbs. And then as you can see, she's got sweatbands. Oof, because it's hot in the clubs. So she's got a little sweatbands on her arms. And I did these little stripes just to kind of just give a little bit of detail. And then on her legs, she's got her leg warmers. So they're just a tube that I did. I'll talk about those towards the end when I then run through the final recipe, if you like. So she's got her leg warmers on. She's got her sweatbands on and a little dress. So she's off to the party. She's kind of coming to life as I expected. And then what I'm now trying to work out is how to do her hair. So I've kind of sketched out a little schematic, if you like, a little hairline, so that I can then go and attach the hair. She's definitely going to have this like quiff, I think. But as I said, she's going to kind of come up in a high pony. What I've done is I've basically cut a load of lengths of yarn now that are all the same that I can then go and hook in. But what I just realised, obviously, the ones at the back need to be longer than the ones at the front, because when I then pull her hair into a high pony, if these ones at the back were the same height as the ones in the front, it's going to pull her hairline up and kind of distort the shape. But it's also going to mean that like the back ones don't go fully into the ponytail. So I've just done this one as a tester. And yeah, if they're all the same length, then they all pull into the pony easily. So what I'm now going to do is remeasure a load of longer ones that I can then do along the back. And what I'm going to do is I'll probably do a second row, maybe every other, just to fill it out slightly. But I'm not putting any hair on this, and I'm hoping it will be okay, that when I pull all those strands together, then we can get a high pony. So I just thought I'd do a quick check-in. I have been ticking along on this, but there hasn't really been, like, you don't need to see me making an arm and a thumb. So I've got 4 or 5 days to go, so I'm on track, I think. We're going to the cinema this afternoon, Saturday, to watch Jurassic Park with my dad and my brothers. So we're going to go out in a little bit. So I've spent this morning sewing the arms on and doing her dress. So I guess I'll be back maybe with a bit of a hair update if there's something interesting. But of course, if not, it'll be a final wrap up. And then I'll share my recipe, talk about how I did all of the final bits and show off my finished Cynthia. Monday, the 27th of June, it's my non-work day today. I've done a few hours of work this morning, but I'm now racing against the washing machine. So I'm hoping I get this bit of footage done before the washing machine goes off in its spin cycle. Right, she has hair. And I thought before I tie it up in her pony, I would show you what I meant by the hairstyle. So I'm going to tie it so she kind of has a high pony. But when I've done the hair, she's actually bald. So there's her head. And if I pull back the hairline, so this is the front of her head, as you can see her eyes poking through. So all I've done, I've not done anything on this central piece because it would just be far too thick to do a pony. So I basically, I think you saw, I'd kind of sketched out a hairline, and all I've done is I've just put individual strands. I put a couple of extra ones in the front just for a bit of thickness, and I've done the same around the back. I've put a couple of extras in just to thicken it out slightly. But pretty much this hairline is just the circle around, the hair is the circle around the hairline, which gives an absolute mop of hair. But if you can imagine how much thicker this would be if she actually had hair all over her head. So I thought that was quite interesting to show you. So the back of her hair now looks nice and thick, you can see, once I've styled it up. And then what I'm going to do is, you'll see in a moment, I'm going to pull these threads through that were here. I'm then going to style this and kind of get it all right. And then I'm going to bring those up in the front. So they're a bit of a feature. So I'm probably going to need Mark to help me in a bit, because I'm going to have to hold the doll, kind of hold the hair while someone ties it. So I'm going to go and do that. And then I'm going to crochet a little bow. And then I think she's finished. So I will be back shortly to show off, well, you'll see it shortly. It might be tomorrow. It might be later in the week. Although obviously the deadline is this week to get her finished, photographed and up online. And she's finished. Da, 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 da. I need to get a couple more of these stands because the Queen was sitting on this stand and now Cynthia is. So the Queen is kind of lying down on a bookshelf next to Emmeline, who's lying down on a bookshelf. So my next Toft order, I need to order a couple more stands, I think. But anyway, she's finished. So I am super impressed with myself, if I do say so myself. Yeah, let me just show you the finished object. So you've just seen me talking about her hair, and you saw that obviously on the inside she was bald, but that's a good old tuft of hair that she's got. So I've just wrapped some yarn and just pulled it up into a bun. I held forward the lilac and the black, put up into the bun, and then I pulled those bits to give it that little look. And then I made a little bow. I didn't film making the bow. It was literally, I made a flat square of crochet and I just went back and forth. And then I pinched it in the middle and then just wrapped some yarn around it. So I've made her a little bow to go in her hair. But there you go, there she's finished. So you can see the little fluff, the little detailing on her arm. and a little sweatband. Oof. A little frilly dress that I showed off in previous segments, and then the little detailing on the leg, and her leg warmers. So Cynthia is finished. So I'm gonna go and take some pictures and then get her uploaded. Competition deadline was the 30th of June, or is the 30th of June. So I'll get her photographed. So if you follow me on the Instagram, head over there. If you're now watching this video and you haven't seen her yet, there will be some pictures on my Instagram, which is how you enter the competition. But I really enjoyed doing this one. I think I said earlier in the video, but if I haven't, the reason I'm doing these quarterly competitions is partly because I want to win, obviously, because if you win, you get a gold patch, and if you come as a runner-up, you get a silver patch. So you know me and my Toft patches, I'd love a patch. But also, more importantly, I think it's pushing me to be more creative, because I'm very good at following patterns, I think. I'm very compliant, and if it tells me to do A, B, and C, I will do A, B, and C. I don't think... I used to not think I was that creative. Double neg? I didn't think I was that creative that I could come up with patterns myself. So this is this has been really helpful to kind of use the flip book to have a think about how to construct a pattern and kind of bring something to life. But I think I should give myself a little bit more credit. When I did Snee, the Snow King, I found that really interesting and probably a little bit more creative than I gave myself credit for. And again, I'm really pleased with her. So this isn't me blowing my own trumpet, but this is me saying, actually, maybe I'm a little bit more creative than I thought I would. I would previously have said I wasn't a very creative person. I'm very compliant. I'll follow a pattern. But she's done. Oh, thumbnail. And yeah, so I hope that you've enjoyed following along with this video. I'm trying to think of the order that these will come out. So this is going to come out after my monthly roundup. So if you have watched this and haven't watched my monthly roundup, hop back and check that out and see all of the things I got up to during June. Coming up later in July, I've started a video for Mark's Argyle jumper, so that will be coming up at some point in July, and I think we're going to try and do the Q&A video in July as well. Mark is going to ask me some questions and we'll do a bit of a get to know Martin and Mark, so I think that's going to come up in July as well. But I'll wrap this video up. I'm going to edit it all together and then get this up online so that you all can watch this. I hope that you've enjoyed following along to see Cynthia come to life. Let me know if you take part in the Imaginists competition, and how do you go about designing? Is it the colour first? Do you have an idea in mind? I'd love to know your thoughts on the design process. And actually, if you don't take part in the Imaginists, well, why not firstly, obviously. But if you don't take part in the Imaginists, how would you do it? Would you start with the colour? You know, this one was started, as I said earlier, with the inspiration because I wanted to do that frill. Whereas Snee started with the colour because I saw the iciness and immediately went there. But let me know what you think about the design process. Where do you think you would start? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and click that subscribe button. As I always say, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, but it helps me to grow my channel. And I really do appreciate you all being here and giving me some of your time. So from me and Cynthia, I will leave this video here. And until we speak again, happy crafting.